Lord, in speaking to Nicodemus, indicates that there are souls who prefer the darkness to the light. There is nothing new under the sun. If we are cleaning a house, when the sun comes as a shaft through a window, in that shaft of light, all the specks of dust can be perceived. Otherwise, they go by unnoticed. And so it is that when we are exposed to the gaze of our God, either in quiet prayer, at home, in a room with the scriptures, or before the Blessed Sacrament itself, if there is no distraction, the rays of his gaze pierce our soul, and we see a bit our soul too, because darkness and light are incompatible. On the other hand, if we prefer to avoid the issue, we will distract ourselves. It is a form of darkness, distraction. And that is out there right now, hugely on this planet. Souls who flee the light and immerse themselves in apparent brighter light. It cancels the equation, but alas, the soul one day will find itself in a very bright light indeed. And if it is in darkness at that point, we know where it will choose to go, for it cannot go towards the light that it is always repelled. So this quiet time of Lent is a time to adjust all time before it runs out. But that light, if it pervades our being, pervades also all our behavior. In the first reading from the second book of Chronicles, we see how the officialdom of the religion of the time were guilty, defiling the temple. Alas, when there is responsibility in the house of God or over the people of God, there is a huge danger of a severe judgment. And we know that in purgatory, priests and even bishops can have a very rough time. What they do influences the people of God, for we preach twice over, is it not true? Your actions speak so loudly that I can't hear what your words are saying. And so it is that if we talk in the presence of God, indirectly we invite the people of God to do the same. And over a time, that becomes the norm. And so the Lord is aggressed in his own house. It's a form of defilement. For our God is majesty, and his language for us is silence. It's a form also of obliterating the light, for darkness and noise are closely related. And there was a punishment. There was the exile, the Sabbath rest of the land, and then they came back, actually through the Lord inspiring a pagan king, Cyrus. That can happen too, that the secular arm can sometimes be an instrument of God. In the Middle Ages, the two were closely linked, and hence we have these beautiful cathedrals and churches all over the place in Catholic lands. But alas, right now, the Prince of this world seems to be using the heads of nations quite often to work for him. But if that enters the people of God too, we're in serious trouble. And it has come out in exorcism that apparently what the devil is doing is making use of priests who follow his inspirations to do his work for him, because they're the ones who have influence over the people of God directly. How clever he is. The dark. This day is a day also of pausing in mid-Lent, for the light is more powerful than the dark. The light brings joy. The dark brings hidden but deep pain, which can only be treated by escape, apparently. The light of grace, as Paul explains to the Philippians, places us in this relationship, for we are in a privileged situation. We have far more than those who went before us in the Old Testament. God so loved the world, and so we have love in our midst, and not a religion, but relationship with the King of Love, whose company is essential joy. Joy comes with peace, and there is no peace when the conscience is troubled. Lord, open my eyes, beam at me, let me see as you see everything. Adoremus in eternum, Sanctissimum Sacramentum. Laudate nominum omnes gentes, laudate eum omnes populi. Quoniam confirmato est super nos misericordia eius, et veritas Domini manet in aeternum. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sic ut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Adoremus in eternum, Sanctissimum Sacramentum.